Hello there everyone, I'm Christina at CSLdesigns, and in today's tutorial I'm going to show you how to make this blended twist beaded kumihimo bracelet. So we have a twist pattern with two colours, and in the middle they blend together nicely. And for reference, the length of the beaded part of this braid here is about 6.5 inches, but of course that depends on your tension, but also you can easily adjust that yourself. Also, don't forget to check out my website where you'll find a picture of the setup of the beads along with a written description as well. But if you want to learn how to make your own, then keep watching. So these are the materials that we need. Now what I have here first of all is my kumihimo disc, and this is the round one because we're making a round braid structure. And then I'm using this s-lon cord here, and I'm just using a black colour to keep it nice and neutral compared to the beads. And as for the beads, I'm using 8/0 seed beads here, so they're both 8/0s, but I have two different colours. The first one is a silver line dark teal, and the other one is a silver line Duracoat Paris pink. But of course you can choose whatever colours you want to. I just thought these two went nicely together, and it's really just to demonstrate with. And then to finish off the ends of the braid, I'm using these kumihimo ends here, and they have these little loops where we can attach our finding. So I've got lost or claw clasp and extended chain, and of course some jump rings to put it all together. So I'm going to leave the material list and links that you might need as well in the description box down below. Otherwise, let's get all the materials ready and let's get started. So then we need to cut some lengths of cord, and what I have here is 4 lengths of about 1 meter each. And then what I've made sure to do is put all the ends together so they're even, because then what we need to do is find the midpoint of these. So I fold them over in half, so put the ends together again like that, because then where we have the middle, I then tie a regular overhand knot just to hold the cords together, and I've just put a piece of scrap wire around that to help pull it down through the disc. So I then took my lengths of cord and attached them onto my kumihimo disc like this. So I took that knot with the wire down through the hole in the center of the disc there, so the braid is going to be coming out on the back. And then I distributed the rest of the cords evenly around the disc like this here. So I put one length of cord on either side of the top dot and also on either side of the bottom dot, so we have pairs opposite each other. Then also we have pairs opposite each other on the side, again the same principle, so they're evenly spread out in these 4 pairs. And then we need to start making a braid here with just the cord for now before we start adding in any beads. So what I do is I take my top left cord, release that from the slot and bring that down. And I stay on the left side of that bottom pair. Then I take the bottom right one and bring that up, and I stay on the right side of the top there. Then we turn the disc for the next pair, so about a quarter. Then again I take the top left one, bring that down, stay on that left side. And then I take the bottom right one and bring that up, and again stay on the right side. So now the pairs have kind of traveled slightly around the disc, as you can see here. When I turn it again, so we're always turning the disc for the next pair, and then take the top left one, bring that down, and the bottom right one and bring that up. So you just want to keep going like this until we have about 1 centimeter of braid. So now that I kept braiding here, we can see the braid starts to come out of the back, and we have that short little end of the braid there. So then what we need to do now is add on the beads to all the lengths of cord. So this is how you want to add your beads to your lengths of cord. Now the next cord that I'm due to take is the top left one and then the bottom right one before I then turn my disc for the next pair. And I've set up the beads on my cords here to fit how I work with my braids. So if you start with the top left one or the bottom right one, so the same as me, then you'll set up the beads in the same way as this. But if you start with the top right one or the bottom left one, then you need to set up the beads in a mirrored image to this. So imagine that you have a mirror in front of your disc, and then you need to set up the beads in that mirror image. That means the top 2 cords will swap places, the bottom 2 cords, and the cords on the side will swap over the middle with each other as well. So obviously not the cords themselves, but the setup of the beads. And in that way you'll achieve the same effect. I also just want to mention regarding the length of the braid here, because you can either make it longer or shorter. That's up to you, obviously, depending what you need. The main thing to focus on is keeping that middle section in the middle of the braid, so that kind of transition in the pattern. Now, the way to do it is you can either make it longer by adding beads, or you can make it shorter by taking beads away. And what you want to do is take the same amount of beads away if you're making it shorter from either end of the cords there, or obviously if you're making it longer, then add the same amount of beads, and you want to continue in the pattern that we have on the ends. So don't worry about kind of that middle section, just leave that, but just doing the same thing on both ends there in the same pattern that there already is. so we keep that middle section in the middle. But once we have our beads in place here on the cords, it's time to start adding them into the braid. So I'm just going to take the cord that I'm due to use next, so the top left one here, and then as I'm moving that, what I want to do is release, bring down one bead, so the very first bead that's available, and then as I'm releasing the cord, just let the bead drop down into the middle. And then if it doesn't kind of go under by itself, just tuck it in with your finger to make sure it goes underneath the cord that's coming out to the side. As with, I'm bringing it over the middle and I'm placing it into the slot on the bottom here. Just continuing the same pattern of the braid structure itself. We're now just every time we move a cord, we're going to be adding in one bead. And just make sure that that bead stays underneath the cord going out to the side. That kind of is what traps it in place. And then the bottom right one here, release one bead as I'm releasing the cord, let it drop down into the middle, just tuck it in place if it doesn't go in by itself, and then place the cord into the slot on the top. And now I turn my disc for the next pair. Again, top left one, bring one bead down. As I'm releasing the cord, let it drop into the middle. Make sure it goes underneath the cord that's coming out to the side here. And then the bottom right one, let that bead drop down. And it's by pushing, making sure the beads go underneath the cords in the middle there. That's what makes them end up on the outside of the braid, so we can achieve the pattern that we want. Otherwise, if you let the beads drop down, if we let the bead, when it drops down here, kind of sit on top of the cords, so instead of pushing it underneath there, if it doesn't go under by itself, so it sits underneath the cord and gets trapped in place, if it ends up kind of slipping out and then sitting on top, what will happen is the beads will kind of end up inside of the braid, which in this case is not what we want. So just make sure that the bead always just gets tucked underneath the cord, same here, that's going out to the side. Make sure it stays there while then bringing the cord over to place it into the slot on the opposite side of the disc. You just want to continue adding your beads in like this until we've used up all of them. Once you've then used up all the beads here and you haven't got any more to add in, then we need to make a little end of braid without beads on this end here, just like we did in the beginning. So that means just continue in the same way, but now without adding beads in. And we just need about the same length as we have in the beginning of the braid. Then to secure the end of the braid and remove it from the disc, what I'm going to do is go to the next pair of cords that I was due to use, so not the pair that I just used, but out of the pair that I'm due to use, I'm going to take two cords that are diagonally opposite each other, and then bring them over the middle and tie a knot, and then tighten that down at the very end of the braid. And then I just let them loose. I take the other two from the same pair, tie a knot over the middle, and then I just go to the remaining cords here and do the same thing. And then I have the last cords left. And we can obviously remove the disc now as well. But I want to tie a knot with these last cords. But then because these are the last cords, I like to tie a double knot just for that extra security, because just doing one knot, it will probably come undone quite easily. So there we go, it's now nice and secure. So all that's left to do now is deal with the ends of our braid. So that means on this end here, I'm just going to remove the wire. And on this end, what we're going to do is add glue all the way around where all these cords are coming out from, and then cut off the excess cord just to clean up this end. Because then we have both ends in a position we can add our kumihimo ends to. And I do have a tutorial for that already, so I'm going to leave a link to that in the description box down below. But then finish off both ends, attach a clasp, and then you'll have your finished bracelet. So I hope you enjoyed the tutorial for this blended twist beaded kumihimo bracelet. Thank you so much for watching it, and I'll see you in the next one.